When starting on the screenwriting journey, everyone at some point asks about software. And I'm so glad because there is no excuse, zero excuse to not be using screenwriting software if you're serious or even kind of serious about becoming a screenwriter. And while at some point you are going to have to invest some money into the craft to learn it and commit to it, whether it's books or classes, online courses, and yes, even software, I get it. You're starting out and you're newish to the craft and you just don't want to spend a whole lot of money on software because for some of you, you're not even sure if this is what you want to do, right? You're just like testing it out. Like, I think I might be interested, so what do I do? But I don't want to spend a whole lot of money. And I totally get that. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to look at the major screenwriting software packages that are out there that are under $100. And share with you what I think are the best ones. And as a bonus, I'm giving away some paid software. Yes, you heard that right. I'm giving away some paid software. I'm going to explain how that's going to work later in the video, so stay tuned for that. And you might just end up with some paid software. And no, let me also be clear, this video is not sponsored by anyone, even the software that I'm giving away. In fact, it's not me who's actually giving it. I didn't donate it. One of my students in the Screenplay Navigator program is paying it forward. Anyone who participates in the Screenplay Navigator also gets 1 year of the Screenwriting Fast Track Premium course, which includes some paid software. But he already had some software and he didn't need another one. So he suggested I offer his version as a challenge of some kind to help this channel and to give his copy away. So do me a favor and type in a huge thank you, Charlie, in the comments for Charlie paying it forward and donating some software to be given away to one of you. And again, I'll explain how that's going to work later in the video. And no, just to be clear, this video is not sponsored. These are my own opinions about the software, and you are 100% entitled to your own opinions. So we're going to be evaluating the software on the following elements: ease of use, so the interface, interaction, things like that; the platform accessibility, cloud, Windows, Mac, and Linux. It's going to get a 1/4 of a point for each of those. I'm going to give a score. I'm going to give points. The number of scripts you can write. So some software has limits on the number of scripts you can write. That's bad. That's going to get a 0. Others, if you have unlimited, that'll get a 1. And other useful features for screenwriters that include exporting options, because sometimes you just want to be able to export it into different versions or different formats, and having those options is really helpful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer my recommendations for the best free software and the best paid software. So we're going to kind of split it, but the paid software is all going to be under $100 because we don't want to break your bank, especially if you're starting out. And I'll also put some links below in the notes section of the description for each of the software packages that I'm covering here. And if there's a particular software that you're wanting info about, you can use the chapters in the navigator here to just kind of navigate. If you just like, hey, I just want to find out about this one, you can just jump ahead if you want. So feel free to jump around. Here we go. We're starting with free software and we're going to start with Fountain. But Fountain, just to be clear, is not really a screenplay software per se. It is a markup language that you use in a plain text editor. You simply just follow the very basic syntax formatting to imply screenwriting format. And then you can import your Fountain document into any software that reads Fountain files, and many do. And then you have your script. So for example, in your text editor, you would just type period to indicate a scene heading or slug line. Now, the syntax is relatively easy to learn. It's not going to take you very long, but for this one, I'm going to score it 0.5 point because it's not going to quite look like a screenplay, and you do have to spend some time learning the syntax. For accessibility, this is a 1. It's a text editor, which is available on any and every computer you can find, even your phone, so anybody can use this. 1. For number of scripts you can write, again, no limit because it's a text editor, so this one's going to score a 1. For useful features though, a 0, because there's no features. I mean, this is about as bare bones as software can get, although there's a couple of others in our list that do have kind of some bare bones things. But if you want something that is not distracting at all, allows you to just focus on your story, well, Fountain may be the right choice for you. So the final score for Fountain, 2.5 out of 4. Trelby is an open source screenwriting software, and if you're also into coding and software development, you can join the community to help enhance the software experience and add in new features that you want. Now, just to be clear, like, it seems like you got to know code or text or stuff like that for all these. These are the only two that really have that, so the others are more kind of straight software, but I know some of you may be interested in this, so that's why I'm mentioning it. For ease of use is a 1. Trelby allows you to customize the settings to an extent, define what different buttons do to make it easier for you to navigate through all the different fields. It does all the basic things that screenwriting software should do, so a 1. Accessibility, half a point. It's only available for Windows and Linux. It's not Mac. It's also not on the cloud. So just a half a point here. For number of scripts, a 1. You get unlimited. You're fully downloading the software that's totally free. It's not on the cloud, so you can do as many scripts as you want. This one scores a 1. For useful features, half a point. Now, you can import and export a wide range of file types, including final draft files or FDX files. And there are some additional features that you may find helpful. However, not full marks here because it's really just screenwriting. There's no outlining tools, no note card tools, no other organizational features, no other report kinds of things. So it's just a bit limited. So final score here, 3 out of 4. Highland 2 is software that you can use for both screenwriting and novel writing. So if you also like to write short stories or novels, you might want to consider Highland 2. However, opposite of Trelby, which is for Windows and Linux, Highland 2 is only for the Mac. So ease of use is a 1. It's extremely easy to use. There's a few nuances with it, but you're going to get used to those fairly quickly. You can customize some of the elements. It's fairly clean. It's easy to find things, so 1 here. But accessibility, only a quarter of a point because no Windows, no Linux, no cloud. It's only for Mac users. Number of scripts gets a 1. There's no limit on the scripts or novels. You can write as many as you want. It's free. You're able to begin using it right out of the gate. And for useful features is also a 1. I mean, one of the really cool features of Highland 2, which might be worth getting it at some point just to have, is it will import a straight PDF and convert it to a screenplay or novel format if it's formatted like a novel. So however the PDF is formatted, it will convert it and bring it straight into Highland. It's called PDF melting, and it's a great feature. Plus, it imports and exports all the standard file types. Now, what it doesn't have is an outline or planning element, as it's focused on writing, but there's a few other useful features like timed writing sprints, things like that, that kind of make up for it. So we're going to give this one full marks here for this. So final score for Highland 2 is 3.25 out of 4, but it's only for Mac users and probably for those of you who also like to write in other mediums. Next is Kit Scenarist or Scenarist or Scenarist. I'm not sure how to say it. It's an open source and free software made by a developer in Russia for the primary purpose of supporting screenwriting in languages other than English, although it also supports English. I mean, new languages are being added, and as of this recording, as I'm recording it, the latest update, which was in mid-November, included the addition of the Cambodian language as an example. So if you don't write in English, you might want to consider Kit Scenarist, and there's other languages, new ones get uploaded fairly regularly. Ease of use is a 1. I mean, like most other software for screenwriting, the tab and the enter keys are the primary buttons here. Everything is fairly simple. There are no bells and whistles to distract you. As far as accessibility goes, 0.75, 3/4 of a point for the free version. Now you can upgrade to the pro version to also gain cloud access, but for that, you've got to pay around $50 a year if you want to do that. If you aren't planning to keep your projects on the cloud though, you don't have to pay for the additional service. But if you want to use your mobile devices, you're going to need the cloud services. There is support for Windows, Mac, and Linux. The number of scripts, no limit. So another great thing, you can write as many as you want. For useful features, 0.25. I mean, Kit Scenarist is pretty bare bones. There's not much in the form of features or customizations. There's like dark mode if you're into that kind of thing. And there's also the other languages. So final score, 3 out of 4. Although if you're writing in a language other than English, this one might score higher for you on that front. And if you do write in other languages besides English, you really might want to consider trying it out just to see what you think. It is, after all, free. And when new writers talk about free software, Celtics comes up regularly, and Celtics has been making a lot of improvements, but they've also been moving some of their improved features to the paid platforms and away from their free version. So where Celtics excels though is in corporate systems that are working on video games or other scripted content and preparing it for a video shoot of some kind, requiring people to have constant access to one another's work. So some schools use it, a lot of professional companies use it, but if they are, they're definitely using the paid versions to get all of the features that they're wanting. The free version is completely accessible for any new writer. It just doesn't have as many features. So ease of use for Celtics is a 1. It's a standard interface, the tools available for Screenwriter, it's all kind of normal stuff. Accessibility, 0.25. It is cloud-based only. So you can only access your scripts on your tablets or whatever, but you've got to have internet access. So, you can use any device, but if you don't have cloud access, you're done. For number of scripts, I'm scoring this one a 0. You only get 2 scripts with the free version, which is kind of a bummer. You also, after your free trial period ends, because you get a free trial period, you'll have to select the basic plan if you want to continue using the free version. But even the next level of paid version, which is at $15 a month, so that would even kick us out of our less than $100 a year, has a cap of 10 scripts. So even if you're paying $15 a month, you can only have 10 scripts on there, which is fine for a while, unless you're writing short scripts, and then you're going to run out pretty quickly. For useful features, I would score this a 1. There's collaboration, note cards, outlines, customization, a lot of features, especially if you're interested in shooting your own stuff, but a lot of the more high-end features you are going to have to start paying. So final score for Celtics, 2.25 out of 4. I mean, the limit on number of scripts and the cloud-only accessibility just limit the uses of Celtics. But if you're working with a team and you're shooting things, it might be worth it if you can afford the paid version. But for the free version, Celtics is a pass for me. Studio Binder is similar to Celtics in that it is great if you are also shooting your own stuff. It has some of the best shoot preparation materials, pre-production, out there, and is becoming more and more popular in Hollywood as a pre-production tool. The screenwriting element, though, that's part of it is a little lacking. The focus is on integrating the script with preparing for the shoot. So where Celtics is great for companies and organizations, Studio Binder is great for smaller independent productions. And if you do shoot your own stuff, you should definitely look into Studio Binder. When I taught filmmaking and screenwriting at a university, I had my students use Studio Binder, and it was great for them for production planning. But for screenwriting, maybe not so much. Ease of use, it's a 1. I mean, it's pretty standard like everything else that we've mentioned, so no issues here. Accessibility, it is a cloud-based system. You can use it on any device. You can download things. The benefit here and why it gets a 1 and not like Celtics, because Celtics you can't download anything. With Studio Binder, you can access your stuff and use things and update things offline. So you don't have to be online to use them, although you do have to connect at some point to upload your changes so they show up across your devices. For number of scripts though, 0. Another cap for the free version. I mean, Studio Binder only gives you 1 free project, and then you have to start paying. As far as useful features, well, there's a ton of useful features, especially if you're planning to shoot your own stuff. Call sheets, shot lists, storyboards. It's actually great for pre-production planning. For screenwriting, features, but if you're shooting your own stuff, features are great. So final score for Studio Binder is 3 out of 4. For the screenwriting element though, I'd stay away from Studio Binder unless you are planning to shoot your own stuff. And even then, I'd probably choose a different option on this list that I'm giving you, and then import my final script into Studio Binder for my pre-production planning. But for screenwriting, probably a pass. Arc Studio is the newish kid on the block, and it's gaining a lot of steam and popularity. There's a lot of features, the planning tools are customizable, and the interface is pretty smooth and easy to use. So ease of use, a 1. Again, standard elements here, so it's easy to use and customize. Accessibility, 0.25. The free version can only be used within a browser for the cloud. You can't download the software, use it on desktop unless you're using it through a web browser. The number of scripts, 0. For the free version, you're limited to 2 scripts, and even at that, it's going to put a watermark on any PDF you make, which is a bummer. So it basically makes your scripts unusable, except for you. But you can export as a final draft file and import that final draft file into something else without a watermark if you want to do that rigmarole. For useful features, half a point. There's a bunch of useful features in Arc Studio, but they aren't available on the free version, just the very, very basic stuff. So the final score for Arc Studio is 1.75 out of 4 for the free version. The paid version, which we're going to circle back to in a moment, gets much higher marks. Writer Solo is the free version of Writer Duet, and it's kind of hard to locate. It's kind of hard to find because you start looking for it, you're not going to find it. You have to go into Writer Duet and you got to look in their FAQs on their website, but once you find it, it's fully downloadable onto a Mac or a PC, and you can use it on your portable devices as well. So ease of use, a 1. Shocker, I know, but most screenwriting software follows a standard use. So if you're used to one software and you jump to another, it's fairly intuitive. You're going to be able to pick up whatever nuances there are fairly quickly. Accessibility, 0.75. It's not available on Linux, but everything else, you're good to go. You can even work on it straight within your browser if you want. So you don't have to download it. You can just work on it on a browser, totally fine. The number of scripts, unlimited, so full marks here. If you download Writer Solo, you're just straight up good to go. You can write as many as you want because it's on your computer. You can do whatever you want. Useful features, 3/4 of a point. I mean, Writer Solo has a lot of the features you'd want, but the outlining tools are a bit lacking and kind of clunky, to be candid. Still, you can do everything else you'd want to do, including importing or exporting Final Draft or other file types. So final score for Writer Solo, 3.5 out of 4. And if we're going on the scores that I've given, Writer Solo comes out on top, followed by Highland 2. Personally, I like using Writer Solo the best. I have it on all my computers. It's very, very easy to use. And for me, you know, free screenwriting software, Writer Solo is really the best option. But that's not all that's free. You know what else is free? Hitting the like button or subscribing if you're finding value. You can also drop a comment below about what you think is the best free software, especially if you're currently using it. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Just don't be all hating on other stuff. Explain why you like something or why you don't like something if you put it in the comments below, because that will help other people make a better and more informed decision. And we're not just focusing on free stuff in this video, but on software less than $100. And you know what else is less than $100 a year? You could, if you want, support me by becoming a patron. My Patreon link is below, and for as little as a few bucks a month, less than $100 a year, you can help support me, gain access to my archive videos on my channel, maybe even get some swag, some other things. I really do appreciate you doing any of the free or low-cost things because they do help me and they help others find this channel. I really do appreciate it. And just like we aren't focusing on free stuff, and this video is about software that's under $100, there are some paid software packages that still fall into that range. And for this, I'm going to use the range of $100 per year because some of the software I'm going to mention is a subscription-based software. And if you use it for more than a year, you're going to have to pay more than $100. That's not the case with everything, though. I'll be sure to note which ones. So if I don't mention software that you are considering, like, hey, I'm thinking about this, and I don't mention it, it means that its total cost is going to be more than $100 a year. Just so you know. And don't forget, once I get through each of these software packages, I'm going to let you know details for my software giveaway, which is one of these 5 that I'm about to mention. For paid software, I'm going to start with Scrivener. Now, Scrivener is more of a generalist writer software, and many novelists use Scrivener, but it does have screenwriting functionality. And one of the benefits are the planning and outlining tools that are part of Scrivener, which work for both short story novel links, but also for other writing forms. And there are some great supplemental tools for planning, gathering information, organizing everything, keeping it all handy. It's just really great for that and the planning part of it. So for ease of use, I'm going to give it a 1 for the screenwriting, but half a point, think about half a point, if you want to start doing some of the other things. The reason is it takes you a bit to get everything organized and set up like you want it in Scrivener. A benefit of Scrivener for sure is customization. A drawback is you spend a bunch of time getting things set up and not on the craft. Once you're set up, you're fine, but it's going to take you a bit. You're probably going to have to watch some tutorials to just kind of learn how to do this or what's the best way to do that, and that will kind of help you move along. But if you're just using it for screenwriting stuff, it's pretty simple, full marks there. Accessibility, 3/4 of a point. There's no Linux, but you get Mac and Windows, and you can put it on iOS devices, but there is a separate price for that. I'll talk about the pricing here in a moment. For number of scripts, full marks, it's a full purchase, so you can write as many scripts or portions of scripts or short stories or poems or novels or whatever you want to write, as many as you want to write, knock yourself out. Useful features, half a point for screenwriting. For novel stuff, you'd probably score this a point, but for just screenwriting, it's not quite there. I mean, if you're wanting to use software for both novel and screenwriting purposes, because you're using the novel stuff and screenwriting stuff, the score might also go up. But Scrivener isn't a screenwriting software specifically. So some features aren't there, or if they are there, they're just really minimal and kind of clunky. Even their user guide, even Scrivener's user guide says this. It does allow for basic script formatting and export to formats that most screenwriting software can read, making Scrivener suitable for first drafts. So emphasis there on the first drafts. The price for Scrivener is $49 for one version. So either the Mac or the PC, you pick one. If you have a Mac and a PC, you want to put on both, you got to buy two different versions. And then if you want it on your iOS device, it's $19. Small updates for the software, all small updates are free, but larger updates, so if it's a more robust update, that's going to come with an upgrade fee. And some final thoughts on Scrivener. If you're into writing other types of things, so novels, for example, or if your writing involves a lot of research, so a historical fiction, for example, you might want to consider Scrivener for a first draft. But as Scrivener mentions, it's probably not going to get you over the finish line. Its features are a bit limited on that front. So final score for Scrivener, 2.25 points out of 4. If you also write novels, that score probably goes up a bit for you. Writer Duet is the paid version of Writer Solo that we talked about in the free section. Now the paid version does a few more things, has some more features, and allows you to keep your files on your computer or in the cloud using the web or your mobile device. For ease of use, again, a 1. It's all the standard stuff that you'd expect. Accessibility, a 1, because you can download it, use it on any web browser, any system works, you're totally good to go. Number of scripts, again, a 1. It's bought and paid for, unlimited, totally good to go. Useful features, 0.75, for similar reasons to Writer Solo. Now, my non-analytical brain, though, actually wants me to downgrade the score a bit more, because with paid software, I would expect a few more features. I mean, really the main difference between Writer Duet, the paid version that we're talking about here, and Writer Solo, the free version we talked about earlier, is the cloud accessibility and the ability to collaborate online with others. I mean, outside of that, the features are pretty much the same as the free version, which is kind of a bummer. So the price, if you pay for a year all at once, so if you pay the yearly amount, not a monthly, month to month, if you pay 1 year at a time, it's $96 for the year or $8 a month. For final score, I would give this one 3.75 points out of 4. But for the price tag and the fact that next year I'd have to pay for another year and for the limited additional features I get, it's not worth the cost to me. I mean, I really like using the software because I really love Writer Solo, as I mentioned above. I have Writer Solo on every computer I have, but the paid version, just not for me. Arc Studio has a free version that we talked about, but the difference between the free version and the paid version are some solid feature enhancements. One of which being unlimited scripts, whereas the free version, it just limited you to 2 scripts and it put a watermark on it. So kind of made it unuseful, but this one, you're good to go. So ease of use, again, a 1. It's just like the free version, okay? It's the same software, but with the paid version, you just get more stuff, but it's still easy to use, all good to go. Accessibility, 0.75. Again, you can't download for Linux, but you can still utilize the browser feature if you're using a Linux machine, which means any device you can utilize the software if you're using the browser functions. There is currently not an Android app though, so that may throw a wrench in your cogs, but it's still a big difference from the free version. Number of scripts, full marks here. Again, unlimited scripts. Useful features, a 1. There's so many great features available. The planning ones for me are kind of the icing on the cake. Some of the drag and drop features are fantastic. They can help you planning out your story. However, the outlining and revision tools are only available for the Pro version and not the Essentials version. So the price goes, the Essentials is $69 a year. The Pro version is $99 a year, which is still under a $100 limit for the Pro version. And with the Pro version, you get all the features. So final score here, 3.75 out of 4. And if you have $100 to spend a year on software, Arc Studio is definitely one you should look at, especially because of the planning tools and the simple interface. My recommendation would be, though, try the free version if you're interested in Arc Studio. Just kind of see what the interface is like, see if you like it, and then progress to the paid versions. A drawback for me personally is still the yearly paid subscription. Pretty much any software that utilizes cloud-based elements is going to have some kind of subscription-based fee. Most of them do. Not all of them, but most of them do. Scriptworthy is another new screenwriting software that I'm beginning to hear about from other writers. It is, though, fairly standard, and one of its, I think it's unique to Scriptworthy. One of its unique features is that you can share screenplays online with other people through creating a custom URL that you can also password protect. So, which might come in handy depending on your situation. So for ease of use for Scriptworthy is, a 1. It's just standard stuff, just like what you'd expect. So all good to go here. Accessibility, kind of same thing. No Linux. No iOS, but it does have Chrome OS, so there's some mobile accessibility there, so kind of decent, but not full marks. Number of scripts is 1, full marks. It's up to however many you want to write, just like everything else you're paying for. Useful features, this one I'm barely giving it a score of 1. It does all the basic stuff you'd expect in one. Okay, it imports and exports various formats. There's no cards for planning. There's the custom URL feature I noted above. So it meets what I would consider the minimum amount of features, but don't be looking for any other bells and whistles because they're just not there. The price is $9 a month or $99 a year, plus you get the first 30 days free. So again, there's a yearly fee, but if you're constantly sharing scripts and you want something simple and easy to use, well, this one might be for you. So final score here, 3.75 out of 4, barely. It's probably closer to 3.5 out of 4. And there is that yearly fee. I hate yearly fees, but because if I'm buying software, I just want to buy it. I want to own it. Like, be done. I don't want to have to keep paying for it. Fade In has been around for a while, but it clearly is one of the big powerhouses on the screenwriting software block. It has all the features you'd want. It imports and exports pretty much everything, including final draft files, and it simply has more customizable features than pretty much everything we've noted. So ease of use, full marks here, just like you'd expect. It's easy to use, easy to navigate, all good. Accessibility, full marks here. Fade In is available for Windows, Mac, and Linux, and it's available for both iOS and Android devices for a small $5 fee. And the mobile version is the full version. You can do everything on there. Occasionally you get a little bug or hiccup, but service at Fade In is really great, and they help you solve a problem if you have it. Number of scripts, like everything else, full marks here, because with the paid thing, you can write as many as you want. And for useful features, a 1, maybe a 0.75 if you really want really good planning tools. I mean, Fade In has some planning tools. It utilizes note cards, although their functionality could be a bit better, in my opinion, a little more customizable. But it's definitely not as smooth as like Arc Studio or Scrivener's planning tools. However, all the other customization options and features and all that kind of stuff, they make up for that in this one. So I'd still score this as a 1. The price is $79.95. Now it looks like on their website that the price may jump to $99.95, but it's been $79.95 as long as I can remember. Plus all the updates, and this is key, all the updates for Fade In are free. You never have to pay for that. And there's no yearly subscription. So in other words, you pay $79.95 and you own it forever. You can't share the license between computers. So if you want it on multiple machines, you have to buy multiple licenses. But other than that, once you buy it, you own it. So final score for me, 4 out of 4, maybe 3.75 out of 4 if you're really into the planning stuff. All things considered, Fade In really is the best bang for your buck. I mean, it's the cat's pajamas. It does everything you need it to do. It's less than $100, and you never have to spend another dime on it. A quick word about Final Draft and then the software giveaway. You will hear people say, oh, Final Draft is the industry standard software, and Final Draft even says that on their website. And that's 100% wrong, actually, because yes, Final Draft is used on a lot of productions. Yes, most people in the industry have a copy and use Final Draft for production. But for writing, the industry standard is a PDF, not a Final Draft file, not a Fade In file, Celtics, Movie Magic file, nothing. A PDF is the industry standard. That's all you will submit to anyone until someone buys your script. And even then, most of the software I've mentioned in this video will export a Final Draft version. So do you need to have Final Draft? No. you don't. If you sell a script, then yeah, you may want to part with $250 and go get it. Yes, it's got some great features, but probably more features than you will ever want or need or use. And everything you need, you can find in one of the software packages that I've mentioned. Now, am I hating on Final Draft? Well, no, I have a copy, but I rarely use it because I like Writer Solo and Fade In much better. Plus, I hate paying for updates that are 60 or 70 bucks depending on the year. I mean, maybe you don't mind, and if you've got the money and you really want Final Draft, that's cool. But know this, I mean, most writing contests offer as a prize a copy of Final Draft. So if you really want it for the cheap, then get some free software, write a great script, win a contest, get Final Draft for free. Well, I mean, the cost of entering a contest, and there you go. For me, I just use Fade In. I pretty much use that exclusively. If I want to noodle with something, I typically do that in Writer Solo. I bought Fade In about 10 years ago, and I've used it pretty much exclusively ever since. And no, Fade In isn't paying me or compensating me in any way to say that. Now, onto the software giveaway. And because I don't want to gift anyone software that requires a yearly subscription, I want to literally gift it and then you'll have it forever. And thanks to Charlie, one of my Navigator students, a copy of Fade In is being given to one of you. One lucky viewer is going to get it. So here's what you need to do to get it. 1, find any video you like on this channel. Something from Big Red Stripe, something from me that you like. That maybe it's your favorite video or one you found interesting or helpful, or the one where you're like, hey, this is the one I subscribed on because I knew this guy was telling me good stuff. It cannot be this video though. So you got to go find one other video, not this one. Number 2, you're going to share a link to that video that you decide on. So here's the video I found. I'm going to share a link on that on Twitter or Facebook. It doesn't matter which one, just pick one. And when you post on Twitter or Facebook, use the hashtag Big Red Stripe somewhere in your post. And then after you post it, this is the last step, after you post it, copy a link to your post and comment on this video, the one you're watching right now. Write the words shared one for Fade In and link to your post. You have until Friday, December 24th at midnight Pacific time to do this. And I'll choose a winner at random from the posts on this video with shared one for Fade In. And here's why I'm doing it this way. With Charlie's help, we're helping one of you with some free software, but in sharing some of my videos on social media, you'll be helping others interested in screenwriting and storytelling who may not know about this channel find this channel. So we're gonna try to grow our community a little bit. And one of you will also get your very own version of Fade In screenwriting software. So find a video of mine that you like, perhaps your favorite, not this video though. So one of the other videos, share that video you choose on Twitter or Facebook, use the hashtag Big Red Stripe somewhere in your post, and then after you post, copy a link to that and comment on this video. So come back to this video, comment on this video, shared one for Fade In, and do it by midnight December 24th. And I'll choose a winner at random, which will probably involve some dice or something random. Phew, that's a lot. But I hope you found this video helpful. And because ultimately, I just want to help you become a better screenwriter and storyteller. And if you found any value and you haven't already, be sure to like, subscribe, bell, all of that. I really do appreciate it. And also, be sure to check out the links below as they may be helpful to you, especially the Screenwriting Fast Track course, which will get you up to speed much faster on the tools and foundations you need to be a successful screenwriter. It's simply the screenwriting course I wish I would have had when I was starting out. And if you're further down the road, you can join Charlie and others on the Screenplay Navigator and begin transforming yourself into a master storyteller. And when you go to tell a story, no matter which screenwriting software you use, because you will be using some screenwriting software, be sure you tell a story that matters. See you later.